So you've just binged-watched the fantasy show The Witcher during your last few days before exams. Because let's face it, Netflix without academic pressure just isn't the same, right? And now after 16 hours of witchcraft and 3 mysterious timelines in which Geralt, portrayed by Henry Cavill of Rivia, struggles to free a princess from an unjustified curse, you're looking for a similar show to satisfy your magical fiction cravings. Well, we've got you covered with these fantasy shows. Number 1, Merlin, a show with a twist on the Arthurian legend, in which Merlin, Colin Morgan, is a young boy who acts as a servant to Prince Arthur, Bradley James. The warlock must accept his destiny to protect the prince from harm, while keeping his identity as a sorcerer concealed. Why this big secret, you might ponder? Well, it's because King Uther, Arthur's father, had forbidden all magic since the birth of his son, and anyone indulging into wizardry is executed when exposed. Imagine living under those conditions. Whew! Arthur and Merlin undergo many dangerous adventures, and with the help of close friends, fight off threats to the kingdom, and end up with a brother-like bond. Merlin may seem like just a regular guy to you, unlike Geralt, who is, well, let's say, not the most loved by people, but he has to deal with many strange and mystical threats, just like Geralt. It's a series full of fantasy, magic, and everything in between, just like The Witcher. Number 2, The Mandalorian. Who isn't a Star Wars fan these days? No one. Disney did not waste time in delivering similar shows for the die-hard fans of these beloved films, and one of them is The Mandalorian. It's based on the Star Wars universe, but is every bit a fantasy story like The Witcher is. How is it similar to The Witcher, you may ask? Well, both shows follow lone hunters, Cavill's Geralt versus Pedro Pascal's Mandalorian, who take up daunting jobs for money and eventually find their lives changed forever by mysterious and powerful children, Princess Ciri versus Baby Yoda. Adding in mystical creatures, memorable supporting characters, and intriguing politics, it's almost as if the two shows were created from the same prototype. Number 3, Game of Thrones. Yes, we know it's an old show with a horrible, unimaginable ending, but you're bound to love it. And we can obviously not deny its similarities with The Witcher, with its fantasy genre, its old world which is similar yet so unique from ours, and the mystical creatures like dragons, and White Walkers, and shadow monsters. Set in the fictional land of Westeros, the series follows several warring houses contesting for power, while a terrifying non-human threat looms in the north. The show does start out gradually, and, warning, spoiler alert, doesn't end well, but there is a reason the show became a global phenomenon, so you have to give it one chance, at least. Number 4, Highlander, the series. Haven't you always dreamt about being immortal? Well, living forever isn't as wonderful as it sounds, especially when you're always being hunted down. This series follows the adventures of Duncan MacLeod, a 4-century-old immortal who can only die if his head is stripped off his body. Conflict inevitably finds him because he's part of the Gathering, an ongoing battle in which all immortals have to fight and behead each other, only until one is left. You can find a bit of Geralt in Duncan because he has to deal endlessly with immortals who hate mortals, or Duncan for something he did centuries ago. No concept of letting others live here, right? To add more drama and something interesting for our Witcher fans are the Watchers, a secret society of mortals who hunt out mortals and are also intent on killing Duncan. With all the mystery and thrill combined, you cannot miss out on this one. Number 5, Forever Night. Have you ever thought about what your life would be like if you were a vampire? Would you find a way to be normal? Nick Knight, Geraint Wyn Davies, is tired of being a vampire, and after centuries of decadent behavior, begins to seek redemption by using his vampiric powers to save lives. Most recently, working as a homicidal agent in Toronto. Most episodes of this show depict a gory criminal case, blended with Nick's florid memories of mystics, vampire hunters, psychics, and an absurd number of vampires that turn into serial killers. Unlike Geralt, Nick's acceptance of his identity is far more reluctant. Nevertheless, they share a unique trait, dealing with all the weird crap that shows up at their door. Number 6, Shadowhunters. Hold your horses, because Freeform's Shadowhunters will give you the same adrenaline rush that you get from watching The Hunt and The Witcher. When Clary Fairchild begins to see another world beside her own, a world of angels, demons, vampires, and werewolves, she gets sucked in and realizes she was born to be a shadow hunter. Given the task of saving the human world from dark, evil forces, Clary and her friends train to fight demons and monsters, keeping the balance between light and dark. Based on the Mortal Instrument series by Cassandra Clare, Shadowhunters is available to stream on Hulu. Number 7. Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. The two shows are so similar that The Witcher is actually considered a ripoff of this show. It features the mighty Hercules, Kevin Sorbo, fighting all manner of monsters, sirens, and tyrants as he traveled the land mourning the loss of his wife and child at the hands of the murderous Hera, Meg Foster. Just like the demigod Hercules, Geralt is a wanderer. Both these main characters fight off monsters and cursed beings. What other similarities do you need? Number 8. Castlevania. It's a series very similar to The Witcher, consisting of a trio of misfits, including the disgraced heir to the Belmont clan, once renowned for fighting demons, a supernatural priestess, and Dracula's half-human, half-vampire son take on the Prince of Darkness himself in Castlevania, a foul-mouthed monster hunter named Trevor who's seen it all, drank it all, and hates being around normal people. That's Geralt in a nutshell. For Witcher fans, mix Trevor's earthy wit with Alucard's monstrous prettiness, and they're literally two halves of the same Geralt. The storyline involves Trevor Belmont, Richard Armitage, and Sypha, Alejandro Reynoso, off on their own, doing battle with bone-chilling demons, monsters, and other creatures of the night in exchange for some coin. In the end, the vampire hordes catch up to them, and they must once again save mankind from evil. Number 9. Vikings. This show bears many similarities with The Witcher. Vikings not only teaches a lot of history, but it also makes the Viking culture feel alive today, with much of it invoking the Witcher codes of warriorly conduct of Kaer Morhen. It's an epic historical saga, following the cunning warrior Ragnar Lothbrok, Travis Fimmel, a former farmer who defied his chieftain and made a conquest of the Western world, along with his shipbuilder Floki, Gustav Skarsgård, his sons, his brothers, and his wife Lagertha, Catherine Winnick. They pillaged the plunder of what could eventually become England and France. Vikings bears many similarities to The Witcher because of the extreme manly action that you see in this series. Even though there is no magic or fantasy in this action-filled series, you're going to see plenty of drama and wars between different factions. Number 10. Spartacus. Like The Witcher, Spartacus didn't shy away from blood, nudity, excessive violence, or action. Spartacus is the story of the character Spartacus, who is historically known as one of the greatest gladiators of all time. While making a name for himself in the fighting pits, he somehow gathers enough strength to rally all of the other gladiators to his cause and strike a rebellion against the Roman Empire. You're bound to love this one if you like The Witcher, so go ahead and start streaming. Number 11. Shadow and Bone. This fantasy show, inspired by the first of Leigh Bardugo's YA novel series, the Grisha Trilogy, is sure to grab your attention if you like The Witcher. They're both fiction series inhabited by monsters and magic, and follow a similar path of adventure full of danger and heart-stopping action. I mean, who doesn't want to have the power to manipulate objects, the materialki, control a person's heartbeat or their appearance, the corporalki, or manipulate the natural elements, the etherealki? Well, you wouldn't if you just found out that you were one of the most powerful and unique Grisha in the world, and overnight learned that you were one of the prophesied to destroy the fold and restore peace and harmony to the capital city of Ravka. Well, Alina Starkov, Jessie May Lee, had no choice when she was thrust into this new role to save herself and someone she cares about. This is a must-watch for avid fans of action, romance, and magic, and is sure to keep your fiction cravings satisfied. Number 12. The Wheel of Time. The Wheel of Time, which is based on Robert Jordan's best-selling series of novels, offers another chance to escape into a world unlike our own, one where time is cyclical and magic exists. The star, Rosamund Pike, Moraine, is a part of a magical organization known as Aes Sedai, a group of powerful women who can channel the One Power. She seeks a group of young individuals from the sheltered Two Rivers, believing one of them is the reincarnation of the Dragon Reborn, an incredibly powerful entity. There are many elements of the genre that fantasy fans, including you, will enjoy. So grab that popcorn and clear your schedules because you're in for one hell of a ride.